Ever since we found out the truth about the Titans, even if it was incomplete, it was clear that the Founding Titan was special, and most probably stronger than every other Titan shifter. With time, we learned that it was due to founder Ymir being at the coordinate and all the complications pertaining to being of royal lineage to access those powers, but being incapable of doing so due to Karl Fritz's binding vow. As the story progressed, Eren Yeager managed to do the unthinkable, becoming the first person without royal blood to access the true powers of the Founding Titan. So much so that he managed to achieve feats that even the founder herself never did, or rather, never could. In this video, we'll talk about everything that set Eren's Founding Titan form apart and made it better than Ymir's Titan. Number 10. Ymir didn't eat anyone to become the Founder. Almost every Titan shifter across the show had to eat someone to gain their powers. Strictly speaking, about all the wielders of the Founding Titan, barring Ymir, everyone consumed a previous owner of the Founding Titan. With it being passed down among the members of the Fritz and then the Reis family, the Titan was procured by Eren's father, Grisha, who passed it down to Eren himself by turning Eren into a pure Titan. As a pure Titan, Eren ate his own father and gained the powers of the Attack and the Founding Titan. However, as the first ever human being to acquire the powers of the Titans, Ymir didn't eat anyone. She was a slave in the Eldian tribe, and the king had sent out a hit on her for freeing one of the pigs from the pig pen. She was injured, so Ymir tried to hide inside a tree that had a gaping hole. However, that hole led to a body of water where a drowning Ymir went through something miraculous. The source of all living matter attached itself to her spine, making her the first ever Founding Titan. The tradition of eating a former Titan to become one began after her untimely death, as King Fritz didn't wish for the power of Ymir to come to an end, and as such, forced his daughters Maria, Rose, and Sheena to eat their mother. Number 9. Eren's Founding Titan is much bigger than Ymir's. Although all Titans are gigantic, some are just bigger than others. Now, the manga never specified how tall Ymir's Founding Titan was. It could be of the same height as, say, Eren's Attack Titan or Bertholdt's Colossal Titan, but either way, Eren's Founding Titan form was significantly bigger than Ymir's. Ymir's Titan also had the humanoid look like every Titan shifter since she transformed while in her original body. On the other hand, Eren turned into the Founding Titan after Gabby's gunshot decapitated him to the point that his head, with its spine attached to it, flew out of his body. Following this, he came into physical contact with Zeke and transformed into the Founding Titan after gaining access to the paths and Ymir's powers. Due to his spinal cord being exposed during transformation, Eren's Titan form ended up resembling a ridiculously big ribcage, which was allegedly as big as the district of Shiganshina. His Titan was not just tall in height, as it dwarfed the 50-meter Colossal Wall Titans, but it was massive when it came to length as well. There's also the fact that the power of the Founding Titan gave its wielder control over altering the anatomical structures of any subject of Ymir. It can be theorized that it was Eren's intention for his Titan form to be bigger than every other Titan across history, since it would help escalate the scale of the rumbling. Number 8. Eren's Founding Titan is more monstrous than Ymir's for a reason. Despite being humanoid, Ymir's Founding Titan had an exposed skull and an exposed chest-to-stomach region where what should be the ribcage jutted out of her body. Her appearance was more monstrous than that of the other Titan shifters, but it was still tame in comparison to Eren's final form. For starters, Eren had the decapitated head turned into a gigantic fishbone ribcage skit going on. And to top it off, the middle of his Founding Titan had his head hanging, with Eren's glowing green eyes, long dark hair, and sunken face that looked like death. The sight of Eren's Titan made the citizens of Paradise's enemy countries tremble in fear. Its monstrousness was not limited to its appearance though, since Eren, in terms of personality, has always been described as a monster. In the very first season, Levi alluded to Eren being the most dangerous monster, irrespective of him being the Attack Titan. We saw glimpses of it over and over again during the fight against the female Titan, and during Eren's moments of rage against the Titans, back when he didn't know the truth of the world. While Eren was reckless, headstrong, and violently dedicated to attaining freedom due to his hatred of living like cattle, Ymir was pretty much his opposite in terms of personality, since she only ever acted like a slave, even when she had the power to go against her enslaver. Number 7. Eren possessed multiple Titan abilities, unlike Ymir. During the time of Ymir's Founding Titan, she was the only Titan in the world. There were no 9 Titan shifters with their special abilities, and no Titan science that amped up other Titans with abilities they inherently lacked. By the time Eren became a Titan, it had been over 2,000 years. Within those years, there had emerged an entire race of humans known as the subjects of Ymir, who could turn into Titans provided they were injected with the spinal fluid of a royal Eldian. Titan science had thrived during Eldian Eldia's days of glory, and it continued to thrive in Marley following Karl Fritz's relocation to Paradise with most of the Eldian populace. It is possible that as the Founder, Ymir could manifest several special abilities, but we don't know if she ever did it or not. Based on what we've been shown, Eren had access to abilities like selective hardening and sending future memories to the past, while Ymir's Founding Titan never showed off any ability unique to her alone, at least not before she became the Coordinate. Following Eren's consumption of the Warhammer Titan, he also acquired the Warhammer's ability to create hardened weapons from his Titan body. Number 6. Ymir's Founding Titan spawned Eldia's royal bloodline, whereas Eren remained childless. Ymir's invincibility as a Titan led to the creation of more and more subjects, because King Fritz was way too reluctant to let the power of the Titans die out with her. This led to the future generations of the royal family in Eldia consuming the Founding Titan and its spinal fluid over and over to gain the powers of the Titans. This led to the creation of the 9 Titans, with 8 of them being held by the noble houses of Eldia, while the main royal family, who were the direct descendants of Ymir, retained the Founding Titan. As time went on, many Eldians were subject to forced breeding programs by those who had become subjects of Ymir, leading to the birth of kids who were born as part of the Paths realm that gave Ymir access to all of her subjects. During the events of the show, the members from the Eldian royal bloodline, both in and out of Paradise, were descendants of Ymir, which allowed them to help Eren access the power of the Founder. Meanwhile, Eren did not even have royal blood, which is why he only used the powers of the Attack Titan and not the Founding Titan for the longest time. He only gained access to the Founder's ability when he came into physical contact with Dina Fritz's Smiling Titan, Historia Reyes, and Zeke Yeager, because all 3 of them had descended from the Eldian royal family. Eren also died early at the age of 19, so he didn't experience a point where he was the Coordinate while his family line in the real world expanded. Number 5. Ymir's Founder couldn't access the Paths. Eren gained the abilities of the Founder every time he accessed the Paths, which is a metaphysical realm where time and space work differently in comparison to how it works in the regular world. It is in this realm that the Coordinate and the Paths of all subjects of Ymir exist. It allows Ymir to create Titan bodies and manipulate her subjects. It is only after Eren gets the necessary access that he manages to start the rumbling and gets complete control over every single subject of Ymir. Although Ymir is like a god in this realm, she never had access to it while she was the Founding Titan, as the Paths did not exist back then. It came into existence following Ymir's death, as Ymir became the Coordinate. Number 4. Eren's Founder commanded large armies of Titans. Ymir's couldn't. We've already mentioned that Ymir was the only Titan during her lifetime. This meant that there were no Titans to manipulate and control to use as pawns. By the time Eren was born, however, not only were there several pure Titans due to the expansion of the subjects of Ymir, but Karl Fritz had already created the walls using hundreds of thousands of colossal Titans, who had been hardened into place. Because every single Titan branched out from the Coordinate in the Paths, they could be controlled by whoever could access Ymir's powers, which meant that gaining access to it allowed Eren to command Titan armies. To say that Ymir couldn't control armies of Titans isn't technically correct, mainly because of the fact that she never had other Titans to boss around while she existed. Maybe she would have been capable of it if she hadn't lived in a time period where she was the only one of her kind. Number 3. Ymir's Founding Titan was a slave to Eldia. Eren's was a liberator. Ymir had been enslaved by the tyrannical King Fritz of the Eldian tribe back when she was quite young. Having grown up as a slave around people suffering from the same fate made her incapable of even seeking freedom, even when it was something she subconsciously desired. She served the king, despite him trying to kill her and despite her being able to take him down. She conquered nations and built towns for his sake, even when he impregnated her with 3 daughters while keeping her as a concubine and not a wife. And with everything working against her favor, she still fell in love with the king and intercepted a hit meant for him. The only thing that proved how she truly felt was the fact that she allowed herself to die when she could have just healed herself, since her injury didn't take place around the nape. On the opposite end of things, Eren always chased after freedom. He hated their condition as he grew up with humanity living within the walls, waiting to be taken down by their predators one day. Eren hated anything that reminded him of his people not being free. He desired their liberation, and ultimately, he became a slave to the concept of freedom and spent his entire life doing the bidding of his future self, who had already laid down his life, but he did manage to free everyone else. So, while Ymir's Founding Titan was used for her to do someone else's bidding, Eren's Founding Titan was used to free an entire race of humans. Ymir becoming a godlike figure was also an accident that took place due to the practices of the Eldians in the physical world. She never chose to become the Coordinate and have herself eaten by her daughters. Contrary to that, Eren sought to acquire the powers of the Coordinate, choosing to become the all-powerful devilish being. Number 2. Eren used his founder to manipulate history and create alternate timelines. As the Founding Titan, Eren had access to the paths, the memories, and lives of the other subjects of Ymir. As the Attack Titan, Eren had the ability to send memories from the future to the past wielders of his Titan. Using a combination of both powers, Eren was able to look into and across every single reality that was being lived in by the subjects of Ymir and send the necessary message back to the past from the future. This created an interesting situation where the paths eventually branched out into alternate realities, the events of which took place as a result of different decisions and choices. Due to the gruesome nature of the rumbling, Eren felt tremendous guilt over having to commit the atrocity, but using a combination of the powers of the Founding Titan and Attack Titan, Eren peered through every alternate reality, which allowed him to learn that the rumbling was the only thing that could liberate the Eldians. He also loved Mikasa, but due to feeling physically inferior to her due to Mikasa's strength as an Ackerman, he often disrespected her. This was mainly due to the fact that he wanted to protect her, but instead had to be constantly protected by Mikasa. This hurt his ego as he was a young boy, which made him act out even more. As he learned about why the Ackermans were so strong and even matured due to adversities, he stopped behaving that way. During their trip to Marley, he questioned her about her feelings for him. However, a flustered Mikasa told him that she cared about him so much only because he was family, which broke Eren's morale, and he went with the rumbling plan. Had she accepted her feelings for him, he would have ran away with her to live out his remaining 4 years under the curse of Ymir in a distant cabin. As the story neared its end, we learned about the existence of this alternate reality, where Mikasa admitted her feelings and Eren practically eloped with her. In this reality, Paradise was eventually attacked and annihilated by Marley, while Eren passed away at a young age. Due to the existence of this alternate reality and Mikasa's Ackerman anatomy preventing her from losing her memories completely, she regained her knowledge of this reality right before she killed Eren, which helped her understand that the rumbling was the only way for the subjects of Ymir. For Eren's plan to work out, he also used his powers from the paths and as the Attack Titan to send his future memories to all the past wielders of the Attack Titan, which is why the Titan always kept moving forward and never fell into the hands of Marley. This is why Eren Kruger asked Grisha to protect Mikasa and Armin, and this is why Grisha was coerced into killing the Rey's family. Eren also caused the death of his own mother by sending Dina's Titan to his house after the fall of Shiganshina, because he needed his younger self to be radicalized after being traumatized by the death of his mother. Eren's tampering also led to his personality being associated with that of the Attack Titan. It wasn't the Attack Titan that influenced Eren, but rather the other way round. Meanwhile, Ymir was the only Titan back in the day and she had no past to play with. She also didn't have Eren's mindset and goal to liberate the world from Titans and the Eldians from the world. Different timeline, different problem. Number 1. Ymir's founder created the Titans. Eren's founder erased them. The creation of Titans has solely been possible due to everything the Eldian Empire did to keep Ymir's bloodline growing and going. The creation of more and more Titans was possible due to Ymir being the coordinate in the Paths realm and making Titans from scratch in the sandy landscapes. The source attaching itself to her allowed Ymir to pop up in the realm after her death, and it also became the root cause of the existence of the Titan powers. Because the subjects of Ymir could turn into Titans, the modern world of Attack on Titan considered them to be the spawn of devils. Their distrust towards the race because of what they could become alongside Eldia's dark history fueled the hatred against them. Ultimately, Eren had to ensure that the source that was attached to him, now that he was the founder, had to be eliminated. He also had to be killed following that so that the power of the Titans would cease to exist once and for all, and Ymir would escape the paths. This would also result in the world witnessing his friends taking him down and them losing access to the demonic Titan powers now that they had ceased to become subjects of Ymir. Ultimately, Eren's orchestrations led to his desired effect as he managed to erase the power of the Titans and the Titans themselves forever. Marvelous verdict! Philosophically, Eren and Ymir were two polar opposites, with Ymir leading a life of restraint where she chose not to attain freedom even when she had the power to do so. Meanwhile, Eren relentlessly charged towards his freedom even when he didn't have the necessary power and obtained that power to get what he wanted. Ultimately, he was able to free Ymir, but he himself never managed to attain the freedom he so desperately desired. He sacrificed himself for the sake of his loved ones, so they could enjoy a life where they didn't have to live like cattle. This dichotomy between their stories and personalities is reflected in their respective Titan forms, with Ymir's Titan not even having a face due to her lack of conviction, whereas Eren's Titan had no humanoid form apart from that of his face. What are your thoughts on the two Founding Titans? Let us know in the comments down below, and until next time, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.